the particular memory, if the size is given, how can you find out the address lines, how can you find out the address range. With the help of address range, you can able to find that how can you connect the memory with the processor. Okay, so PPT is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you can see yesterday this block diagram I also discussed. Let us see once again. Let us consider this is the EPROM. The name is 2732. Okay, the size is 4096 into 8. If you are calculating the address range of this size, you are getting the 12 address lines. If you are getting 12 address lines, with the help of A0 to A11, we are directly interface the address bus with processor. But from A12 to A15, you know that 16-bit address will be required. For 16-bit address required, 4 bits are left. So these 4 bits are used as a chip select or chip enable pins. Okay, so how can you create the chip enable pins? With the help of decoder or with the help of NAND gate, I already discussed in the last lectures. So here with the help of decoder, the decoder name is 74LS138. This is the name of the decoder. This is a 3 to 8 decoder. Okay, so there are 4 pins are left. These 4 pins are used by the 3 pins are used as an input and one 3 pins is used as a input and 1 pins as a used for the enabled pins for the decoder. Okay, so anyhow you have to consume all 16 address lines. When you cannot able to consume 16 lines, then whatever the left pins are there, you have to use as a decoder or as a NAND gate. Okay, so in this way you are consuming all 16 pins so that you can directly interface to the memory chips to processor. Now you see from A0 to 11 directly connected with the processor and A12, A13, A14, A15 these pins is also connected to the processor directly. Okay, so in this way you can able to find the address range and you are able to connect it. Now you can see that one is called output enable pins. These output enable pins required to produce the output. If RAM is having something but in the output buffer that particular value will be saved. This will now go out when will be the output enable pins is not activated. If you are activating output enable pins, then you can get the output from the output buffer. So this is the control signal that is called MMR, that is called memory read. Okay, so memory read is connected as a output enable pins. So this will control the output buffer. That is output buffer is from O0 to A7, that is of 8 bit. Okay. Now with the help of, you know that already we are discussing about the memory. So input output M bar pin is value is only equal to 0. And next you know that I am going to read the memory. So this is the read bar signals. So if the both value will be, so the both input will be 0, 0. Now you can see if this input will be 0, input output M bar pin is equal to 0 and this RD bar equal to 0. Okay, so here you are getting the input 1 and input 1. So at the output terminals you are getting 0. Correct? When it is 0, this is the output enable pins and this is the active low signal. So whenever active low signals is there, it means that it is denoted by the dot. So this will be 1. If it is 1, it means that the output enable pins is activated. So whenever the read bar signals is activated, then output enable pins are active. At that time, you can read the data from the output buffer. Okay. So next is how the address will be decoding. You know already the how address will be decoded and how can you reading from memory. Now you can see that in the previous slide or in this slide, little bit all the things are same. Now you can see this is the same EPROM. Okay, these 8 to 812 A11 pins will be directly connected to the processor. The rest of the pins is connected with the processor. Now you can see, let us consider I am providing 1 1 1 1 1 to the all ones, okay, and also if you are providing the this 0 to the A12, A13, A14 pins, okay, and A50 pins is always 0. Now you can see that I have taken the examples. Now you can see E1 bar and E2 bar both are active low signals, but E3 is active high signals, okay. So E3 is always connected to the plus 5 volt and E2 bar is also connected with the ground. It means that if you are providing 0, you are getting 1 air. If you are providing 1, you are getting 1 air. So this is 1. So these 3 pins will be enable pins. Now this is the E1 bar. So for 1, you have to provide it is 0. For becoming 1, you have to provide 0. When these 3 will be 1, then this decoder will be activated. Okay, so when the decoder will be activated, now you show that this is the A12, A13, A14. Since you are using only 11 address lines, 12 address lines, so 4 address lines will be left, and these 4 address lines will be always 0, 0, 0. This will not change. Remember that. If the address lines is only 11, 12, so only 12 bits will be changed, but these 4 bits will not change in any circumstances. So I am going to fix this 4-bit value with 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. So now what will happen? A12, A13, A14 is 0. Okay. And A15 is also I'm feeding 0. Now you are providing these all zeros. Now you can see when the input is 0, 0, 0 for 3 to 8 decoder, the output 0 will be activated and output 0 will be connected to the chip level pins. Okay. So in this way you can consume the bit, but you are not going to change this value. Remember always, since these 4 bits remains always 0 in every circumstances. Now when you are providing these 0, then this decoder gives the output and it will fed to the chip enable pins. Chip enable pin means it will activate the memory. Now this memory range is 00H to FFH. This is the memory range. Okay. So if this is memory range, with the help of this range, you can store the data or you can read the data from any locations. So let us consider you are giving this address, particular address. Okay. This address is 0 FFH. If it is 0 FFH, it means what? If it is 0 FFH, it means that processor wants to access the location, last location, that is this location. Either it will either it will read or you will write. So for the case of reading, what will happen? This location, the data will be available in that location, that will be transferred to the output buffer. Okay. When the read signals will activated, after activating read signals, what will happen? Output enable pins are activated and you can get the output from the output buffer. So whenever you are fetching the address with the help of internal decoder, this will find the exact location of the memory and from there the data will be retrieved by the output buffer. And then when the read signal is activated, this data, output buffer data, will be read by the processor. So this is the whole concept regarding that how can you read the data from the memory or you can able to write the data from the memory. Okay. Now you can see the next topic is interfacing input-output devices. So all of you know that what is the input devices and what is the output devices. Okay. So what is the output devices? The output devices, it means that it receives digital information from microprocessor unit. Okay, like examples, LED, 7-segment display, LCD and printer. This is the output devices. Let us consider you have a output device. How can you connect with that? If you have input devices, how can you connect with the processor? So input devices is provide digital information to an MPU. Examples is switch, keyboard, scanner, digital camera. Devices are interfaced to an MPU using input-output ports. Now you have to, till now I am discussing about the memory. How can you interface the memory? But if you want to interface the input-output devices, then how can you do that? Okay. So for that purpose, you can see the diagrams. In the diagrams, I have taken one DIP switch as an input and LED as a output. So how can you interface that? So before interfacing that, you have to know about there are two instructions. That is called in instructions and one is called out instructions. When I am teaching with the instruction set, I will tell you in details what is the use of these instructions. Okay. So now the in instruction is used for the input devices and out instructions is used for the output devices. Okay. Now whenever you want to access any devices, it means that you have to find out the address of that particular devices. Okay. Now you can see that whenever I am talking the address, it means that always we are dealing with the 16-bit address. Correct? But this is the exceptional when I am going to deal with the in and out instructions, only 8-bit will be the address of the devices. It means input devices and output devices is of 8-bit. Address of input devices and output devices is 8-bit. That is also called as what is port address. Okay, port address. When I am discussing with the port address, it means that you have to define 8-bit port address, not 16-bit. Okay, so this is the difference between the address bus and port address. So when I am talking about the address, it means that you are talking always 16-bit. When I am talking about the port address, it means that it defines 8-bit. Okay, so remember these things. So now you can see this is the input devices and this is the output devices. First I will think about the input devices. Input devices means that it will take the information from devices to the processor. Like this way. In the output devices, it means that this information is sent to the other devices by the processor. Means from processor to device. Okay. So this is a difference. Now you can see this will be connected to the input port. Okay. So input port, you have to define input port. What is the meaning of define input port? It means that you have to define the port address. Whenever the devices is connected in somewhere, you have to some different ports are there. Let us consider in the CPU, memory slots are given. So that memory slots having fixed address for the processor. Okay, so same way, if the input devices are there, your output devices are there, for that devices, you have to connect with the port address. So the question is, how can you generate the port address? So 8-bit port address is connected with the input devices and 8-bit port address is connected to the output devices. So these port address will be required for connecting any devices, either input or output. Okay, so now for this purpose, you have to define the address. Now you can see that this is the processor, and processor some address bus are there. So address bus is of 16 bit. Okay. So if address bus is of 16 bit, so what will happen? The 8 bit is given to the input devices and 8 bit is given to the output devices. Okay. So the address decoder will decode the address so that the lower byte or higher byte, one is fed to the lower byte and other is fed to the higher byte. Okay. So if you are providing this, it means that you are fixing the value of for particular devices. Let us consider I have fixed sended the 80H. It means that from the 80H you can't able to access 80H memory location further, since we are fixing this address to the devices. Let us consider for the input port I am fixing 250H. It means that this 250H address will be assigned for the input devices, and when you want to use the data from the input devices with the help of instructions IN25H I have written, it means that from this address whatever devices are attached, from there it will take the data to the processor. Okay, this is the whole concept. If I am writing out 80H, it means that the 80H locations, 80H the port address, this port address is connected to the output devices. So that output devices, you have to send the data to this particular devices, then you will use the out 80H. Now, how can you send the data? How can you retrieve the data? Means whenever the input, whenever in is using, it means that you are reading. Whenever out is using, it means that you are writing. So read bar is always associated with the input devices. Write bar is always associated with the output devices. This is the data lines, which is the common to both, since data line is bidirectional. Okay, so in this way you can transfer the data from the processor to the input devices, to the output devices, or from the input devices to the processor. Now you can see that, let us consider I have written in IN250H. I have written IN250H. Okay, it means that 250H is 25, sorry. 25. So 25 is the port address of input devices. So whenever I want to read the data, I am using IN225H. It means that you are reading the data from the input devices. But after reading, where you will store? So you have to store in accumulator register. Always remember, when I am using in and out instructions, always we are using the accumulator. So if you are using out instructions, it means that whatever data available in the accumulator registers, you are going to send to the output devices. Okay, so in this way you are going to interface the input devices and output devices. Now this is the some descriptions of that, whatever I discussed. So input output ports. So this is the some decoder will be required for the generating the 16-bit address. So whenever you want to, there are two things. If you want to read from any input device. Okay, so if you want to read any input device, what procedure you have to follow? Whenever you want to write to the output devices, which procedure you have to follow? So first of all, what you have to do, the microprocessor places the address of any input port on the address bus. Okay, so where I'm talking input port, it means that this bit, the address size is 8-bit only. So this 8-bit port address is sended by the processor. After that, you have to enable the input port by asserting the read signals. Whenever you are providing the read signals, it means that you can able to read the data. After reading the data, reads data using the data bus. With the help of data bus, you can able to read that particular data. Okay. Same way for writing, the processor places address for the output port. Okay. Places the data on the data bus, asserts the write signals to enable the output port. So whenever you enable the output port, you can, with the help of write signals, you can send the data. So whenever you want to read the data, then it will stored in the accumulator. When you will send the data from accumulator, you can send the data. Okay. So whenever we will using the input, I am using in instructions. When I am using the output, I will use the out instructions. Okay. So with the help of in and out instructions, we can control the input devices and output devices. Controlling means either you can read the data or you can write the data. So there are common things, common devices which is used for the output devices like LEDs, 7-segment display, LCDs, all of you know what is this, but these devices. Okay. So just for a reference, I will give you some examples. Now you can see that when I am talking about the LEDs, okay, or LCDs or 7-segment display, there are two ways for connecting these type of devices to input output ports. Okay, the first is called common anode, common cathode, and second is called common anode. So all of you know the diode. Okay, so this diode is having plus and minus. This plus is called as anode and this minus is called as cathode. Okay, so when we are dealing with the common cathode, when we are dealing with the common cathode, what will happen? All LED cathodes are grounded. Whichever is common, that part is grounded always. When common cathode, it means that cathode will be grounded. If common anode is there, it means that anode is connected to the power supply. Okay, since cathode is negative, so you have to connect the ground. Anode is positive, so you have to connect the power supply. So logic 1 from the input output port turns on the LEDs. Current is supplied by the input output port called current sourcing. See that you can remember these things, current sourcing and what is current sourcing and what is current sinking. So current is supplied by the input output port is called current sourcing and current is received by the chip is called current sinking. Okay. So now this is the two different ways you have to connect. Now you can see the examples. Now this is the 8 LEDs is connected. Okay. So if 8 LEDs is connected, here you can see that all negative parts is connected to the ground. It means that this is a part of common cathode. Okay. Here this anode is connected with the power supply plus 5 volt. So this configuration is called common anode. Okay. So in this way we can able to differentiate it. Now same way happening with the 7-segment display. All of you know that. Just for a reference, I have put in the slides. 7-segment display, there A to Z is there. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, and also one decimal for decimal points is also there. So these for the different sections, different LEDs are there. with the combination of zeros and ones, you can glow a particular device. So with the help of these devices, you can display the 0 to 9 any value. Okay. And also you can display the hexadecimal also from 0 to F. Okay. So wherever a requirement, according to the requirement, you can use it. Okay. So all the sections having a different LEDs. Okay. Associated with that. The same way we are talking about the common anode and common cathode. Here is also we are using common anode and common cathode. Okay. So in this way, we can see the different types of devices are there. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask.